I'm noticing a trend on social media right now where there's a lot of the white knights and simps for Microsoft and Xbox going out of their way to try to pretend that the Asha Sharma hire was a good hire and that it doesn't matter if she plays video games or not because she wasn't hired to be a gamer, guys. She was hired to be a CEO of a game company, which apparently is a very different thing if you follow the logic of these people, which I don't, but we're gonna try to hear them out and see what they say. First one I want to start with is Danny Pena, who is one of those access media will say anything just to be in good graces of the corpo slop. He says, I find it hilarious when people think you need to be a gamer to be a CEO of a gaming company. God forbid you don't eat cheeseburgers and you're the CEO of McDonald's. I think it's pretty important to know something about what you're selling. Would you hire a vegetarian to run a burger company? What even is this mentality? Unlocking achievements isn't going to help you sell a console or games. You don't need to unlock achievements, but don't you think being in tune with your audience and understanding the products that you sell so that you can drive that towards the direction of what people want to sell more of it would be important? There's a long list of executives who have changed gaming because they're good at the business side, not by how many hours they've played the games. This is the worst straw man argument because, of course, in any conversation, there will always be exceptions to the rule. That doesn't mean because one person did it that you don't need any experience at all. It's the exception for a reason. So I responded to him and I said, I'm so tired of these takes, man. Framing it as, lol, achievements don't sell consoles. But that's a bad faith argument because it purposefully and deliberately minimizes what people actually mean in the conversation. No one's saying a CEO needs a 10,000 gamer score. They're saying you should understand the product, the culture, and the customer at a deep fundamental level. That would be like selling high-performance sports cars, but not caring about driving, or running a film studio while openly disliking movies. I mean, theoretically, it's possible, but it wouldn't be what I'd place my faith in if I were leading Microsoft. Technically, you can manage spreadsheets either way, but in reality, you're disconnected from the very thing you're supposed to be championing. Gaming isn't just units moved. It's community, design philosophy, player trust, and long-term brand identity. Come on. If leadership doesn't genuinely understand that, you end up optimizing for quarterly optics instead of building something players actually want, which is precisely how Xbox as a brand got here under bond in the first place. I'm so tired of these arguments. And there's a lot of people going around pushing it's not her fault that she got hired. Give Asha a chance because maybe she'll surprise you. She has a background as a VP of AI at Microsoft, knowing little to nothing about gaming. I am not going to hold my breath that she's going to come in and somehow understand what I want out of this. Sorry, that's not how this game works. Lulu Cheng Meservi, who is an ex-Activision employee, Team Xbox, M-. Some of you are asking how much it matters that Asha doesn't have gaming experience. Some thoughts since I've been there. I had never worked in gaming when I joined Activision Blizzard's board and later became CCO and EVP of corporate communications. And although I played games, I wasn't very good. Again, this is not the own you think it is coming from Activision Blizzard telling people, I did it, guys. The learning curve was huge. I had to quickly understand the products and players. Gaming culture is unique, and it's not just one culture. COD versus WoW have very different communities. Launching DIV was totally different from Overwatch work. Getting up to speed took a ton of listening and learning, often the hard way, because while you're figuring things out, you still have to do your job. Why would you just not hire someone that understands both? Why does it have to be someone coming from the outside that doesn't play games? You can't tell me there are no gamers out there that couldn't be qualified as a good CEO to run a business. None? Really? Really, girls? None? It involved visiting studios, DMing the streamers, talking to devs, and lots of reps getting absolutely murked in Modern Warfare 2. The players made a huge, huge difference. I learned from so many of you. Again, getting caught up to speed instantly is impossible to do. Whether you were sharing feedback or meeting up at BlizzCon or cooking me on Twitter, tough crowd, strong feelings, never change. This is why gaming has fallen, because people like this person got put into leadership roles and they try to take the spotlight of, hey, I did it, so give her a chance. It's like, fuck no. I don't like the direction game's been going. You didn't do it. You fucking ruined it. Also, while I definitely didn't have the quote right resume or background in gaming, I did know how to communicate, negotiate, get creative, so you could pull one over on the people hiring you to trick them into thinking you'd be able to learn how to do this, take care of people, and when needed, fire shots. I still made plenty of mistakes, but my point is that the skills from other jobs do transfer. This lady that she's talking about, this Asha Sharma that just got hired to head Microsoft's Xbox division, is coming from a VP role in Microsoft's Copilot artificial intelligence. That is very scary, leading a game division. Even though there is a lot to learn for someone without a gaming background, it is learnable. Asha is smart, effective, and a fast learner. How do you know shit about this person? She has no ego, just wants to get the job done. Playing lots of games in a short period is her way of preparing as best she can. And she shouldn't be put down for that. She's determined. Again, I don't give a shit. It is not my job to champion her. Fucking prove it. Do something that puts it in a better place. Talk is cheap. I owe her nothing. Nobody owes her compliments. No one owes her the time of day. No one owes her the graciousness of, sure, Slay Queen, let's see where we go from here. No, fuck that. That's how it ended up here. At least from my perspective, I'm done with doing that. She's determined to make Xbox the best it's ever been, from the foundation built by Phil and Sarah and their team, which, holy shit, how out of touch is this person to say that? If I could have stayed after our acquisition, I'd be super excited right now to work for Asha. I bet you would. I will forever be grateful for all of you who welcomed me into the community and gave me advice and encouragement, even as I was far from perfect. I hope you'll give Asha the opportunity to load in, learn, and show what she can do. Don't judge the resume, judge the KD. I'm going to judge the resume. Imagine if they hired a gamer for it. That's a dude that is just pushing bikinis in games and gamer talk and everything. Do you think that this chick would have written the same message? No, of course not. I said, the industry has been wrestled away from the people that support it in order to be co-opted by those with an agenda. The agenda was to expand it and make it more lucrative to ultimately make even greater game experiences for some of the original audience. Others, the agenda has been to push an ideology and use games as an avenue to get there. I have a hard time believing there are no adult gamers who don't have the qualifications to also be a CEO of one of the largest video game companies on the planet. The situation with Microsoft and the alleged nepotism hire in Asha does not pass the smell test, and she is facing the expected backlash for it. Can she prove herself? Time will tell, but she sure as shit isn't getting any benefit of the doubt, nor should she. Gamers will not be gaslit by this shit anymore. Gatekeep harder. It's happening everywhere, by the way. Imagine being hired for a position and going to the interview and saying, don't judge me by my resume. Judge me by who I am as a person and my compassionate heart. What the fuck's the point of a resume at that point? What's the point of a job interview? It just turns into a trust me, bro. I can do it. Christopher Dring, who is another Wokey Shill Media, Access Media member. This is formerly from Video Games Chronicle. He's the editor-in-chief and co-founder of The Games Business. He says, you don't have to be a gamer to work in video games. You don't have to have a gaming background to run a game company. The industry could do with some outside thinking, frankly. Yeah, because we see what the outside thinking has got us with Sarah Bond. So sure, let's double down on that. I said, this is some sort of that advanced form of copium and hopes to align for maintaining access media. Cartel Dell, quote tweets him, says, this post probably means well, but unfortunately, some of us have PTSD from outside thinking. Some examples. I still have which, by the way, this Cartel Dell, he is someone who bounces back and forth from being aligned with the wokies and the cult members to being someone who's extremely based. And he bounces back and forth. This is the same guy that was questioning why they can't make women characters in games attractive. He's a developer in the game industry. And he said back then, he makes a beautiful character. It goes through 3 rounds of revisions and comes back to him as an ugly character. And he was very frustrated about that. And people were like championing this guy. And then he's like, forget I said anything, and just deleted that post and then blocked people like me. He has since unblocked me, so credit where it's due. And it feels like he's bouncing back to being based again, which is great to see if that's true. He said, I still have flashbacks to the outside thinking, quotes, director that asked us to increase the quality of visuals of the game we were on. Then when we explained pixel limitations, he said to make the pixels round then. Okay, that's actually really funny. Also, remembering the time someone new at Xbox told us to remove controller support for our Kinect game because, quote, all gamers will buy a Kinect if they feel they are missing out. This is what I'm talking about. This is someone who's in the game industry and dealt with these types of people that come in that have no idea about what gaming even is. Grubb says, a lot of the people are saying it's unfair that she's not getting a break, a chance. At the same time, nearly every gamer is groaning at this and angry. The anger comes from one place. Execs and suits have absolutely ruined the AAA gaming. Ever since gaming became more profitable than movies, the suits have flooded in. Gamers have seen nothing but greedy monetization, DEI policies, and he's focusing on AAA here because not necessarily with the indie game scene, but definitely absolute destruction of the AAA industry. Gamers have seen nothing but greedy monetization, DEI policies, and shitting on gamers for a decade now. And they don't blame the game makers. They blame the suits. And so when you bring in an obvious suit who has never been in games and who looks to be pretending to be a gamer to try to fix a beloved brand like Xbox, there is a riot. Everyone is upset. It's not her. It's what she represents. The mindset that destroyed our favorite hobby. Right here, quote of the century. That's what it is. When people are frustrated with Asha, it's not that it's personal. I'm not being personal. I hate this person. It's this. It's what's happened to gaming. She is a physical representation of exactly what's wrong with the hiring in upper echelon in gaming. There's a reason indies are crushing it right now. And it's because those are gamers making games, while AAA hollows out, whining about a tough gaming landscape. And by the way, I'd like to think what we are doing is trying to save them and help their careers and save their jobs, because the direction they're going is fucking them. Studios are shutting down across the board. People are being fired, laid off, live service games out the ass that no one's playing over and over again. And we keep saying, stop doing this. Go back to making a quality single player or local multiplayer or online multiplayer gaming experience. Keep it basic, make it amazing, and you'd be shocked at how many people are going to be excited to line up for your game. It's challenging because it takes creativity and talent, but at the end of the day, it's really not that hard. Doing anything but taking a look at themselves and realizing they are the ones who destroy it. And this is quote tweeting the Permaban, the story building up about the CEO, Asha Sharma, that I've covered in a previous video. Fertanga says, that's how you get your Concord, in quote tweeting Chris String. And this, it's still going with this Lulu Chang Mercery. The anti-Indian hate and conspiracy theories on here are wild. I am so tired of this angle from these wokies. I said, instead of calling it hate and conspiracy, how about meeting the conversation with valid points about why you feel people are wrong with their standpoints? Like, let's have a conversation. They don't want to do it because they know they will lose and they will get absolutely destroyed in the conversation. It's so easy to destroy their points. So instead, they just start saying, oh, you're racist. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that at all. Now, like I said, there are exceptions to the rule, and I'd be remiss to ignore the exceptions that have been successful in the past. And it just happens to be a male. Destin says, if Strauss doesn't play video games, is GTA 6 going to be bad? Quote tweeting Dexerto, I'm not a gamer. I don't play video games. The CEO of Take-Two revealed he won't be playing GTA 6. Nick Tech, hot take. It doesn't matter if a CEO is a gamer. As Strauss Zelnick has said perfectly, a CEO's job is to attract, retain, and motivate the best talent in the business and then get out of their way. Which, if that's the case, I don't look at Asha Sharma as someone's going to be able to do that either. The new Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, doesn't need to be a gamer to run a company. She simply needs to do what the CEO's job of running a game company is supposed to do, which is to hire talent and allow game studios to make their creative vision come to reality in a video game format without interference. How does she know what the right people to hire is if she doesn't understand what needs to be made? It's just a lot of trust me, bros. Again, this is how we got here. I've seen a lot of comments judging her by her previous gamer background, or lack thereof, you mean, which doesn't really matter in my opinion. What matters is how and if her future decisions will lead to making Xbox the best gaming platform that it can be. Spoiler alert, it's not going to. But let's hear Strauss Zelnick here and what he has to say here. Strauss Zelnick, by the way, allegedly is being sued right now for some really sketchy stuff with a dude in the locker room with Take-Two Entertainment. Check out my video on that lawsuit. All alleged, but let's be careful about propping some of these people up.
I'm not a gamer. We were talking about this earlier. You don't play a lot. So
not a lot. I don't play video games.
At all?
No, I do not. I'm not the consumer in chief. I am responsible.
Do you offer notes on the game? How does that work?
I share my opinions pretty openly. I think being the consumer in chief in an entertainment business as the CEO is probably a mistake. I wasn't the consumer in chief in the movie business or the television business or the music business, even though, I certainly couldn't read a script, and I definitely love music, and I was a musician. That's not my role. My role is to attract, retain, and motivate the best talent in the business, and then get out of their way.
Okay. Also, have a vision for the direction of the company to make base games that gamers are going to eat up. And Take-Two is behind some of the most beloved games in the history of gaming. So there's that. Where we're coming from Xbox now, and Sarah Bond passing the torch to Asha Sharma, picking up the pieces for a company that, again, maybe Asha Sharma is going to be amazing. Maybe she blows everyone's mind with how incredible she is, and her vision is just so perfect with AI that nobody saw coming. That's the future of gaming that people couldn't believe could be a reality, and she brought it to life. Again, there's a lot of could be, would be, maybes. I wouldn't hang my hat on that's what's going to happen. If I were Satya Nadella in charge of Microsoft, one of the most valuable companies on planet Earth, looking to hire someone to replace Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, I'd be looking for someone that had a vision of how to get it back on track based off of, this is the important part that they're missing here, where it used to be successful in the past, because they got away from that. And as soon as they got away from that, it unraveled. And it feels like what they're doing right now is, instead of getting back to that, unraveling it even faster. And that's not a direction to provide any kind of future success for the organization. So I'm not going to hold my breath that Xbox is going to turn things around. If anything, I would argue this is the beginning of the end of the Xbox brand. But time will tell. I'll be very curious to see what happens in the next 5 to 10 years. We'll see. But for now, I'll leave that there.